Hello, everyone. To start off, I just want everyone to take a moment to reflect on all of the experiences that has brought you to who you are today. Just take a moment to reflect on that. Now, I want you to think how many of those experiences involved you going out of your comfort zone or taking a risk that you usually wouldn't take. Usually, we go with whatever feels most comfortable to us, or we go with the option that's the most risk averse outcome. But why don't we usually decide to take these risks when there could be potentially a life changing, intangible reward ahead of that risk? How do you expect to graduate college and go into the real world without taking risks beforehand to prepare for what is to come? These risks can offer personal growth and achievement, yet we decide to stick with what is most comfortable and most familiar because it is the easy way out. Nobody is going to hire a college graduate who doesn't take that initiative or at least go out of their comfort zone at least once during their college experience to stick out from the rest of the crowd. From what I've learned throughout college so far, it is worth taking these risks in order to better ourselves, to educate people around us, and to learn additional information vital to everyday life. Basically, with risks come rewards. Earlier this academic school year, I decided to take a risk and run for the executive position on my executive board for my sorority that I'm a part of. For some, that might not be considered a huge risk, but for others like myself, it would. It all depends on the perception of each individual, but for me, this was way out of my comfort zone. So, in an article written by Morton Shavitz on psychologytoday.com, labeled Getting Out of Your Comfort Zone, he asks us, what does your comfort zone look like? Do you eat at the same restaurant every Friday night and order the same thing? Do you drive the same way to work every day? He's basically emphasizing the fact that each individual has a different comfort zone and it is okay to have different ones than your friends or colleagues. As a freshman in college, I never thought of myself as someone who was an outgoing person or a natural born leader, so I never even considered going for the opportunity. I never was one to stand out in a crowd or be motivated enough to promote change within an organization like so. I was so hesitant with the deadline of this application to apply to be on the executive board that I filled out the application and waited till the very last minute to submit it. That was a huge step for me. I told myself that I might regret not doing it, so I decided to just apply and see what happens. And then the interviewing process came along. So nerve-wracking interviews and speeches passed, and I actually ended up getting that position. And I never thought that I would. And this position was to be the vice president of finance for my sorority. Now, that's very important to me because my major is business finance, so I thought that this was a huge risk to take, obviously, because I was running as a sophomore. But it was honestly such a rewarding experience because I never thought I would be capable of even getting elected to the position. I didn't even think that anyone thought that I was good enough to do it. And I was so shocked that people saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. So this is an experience of mine that stuck out that I wanted to share with everyone. And I would never go back and change it because it has shaped me into the individual that I am today. So first, I just want to capitalize on why leadership positions offer so much more than you would think as from an outsider perspective. So those who strive to be in positions like these make themselves to be the most busy, yet in the end it allows it for so much personal growth and responsibility. I can honestly say that I usually spend more time doing tasks for this executive position than I do on a regular school week, but to me it is all worth it. Of course, we're all here to get an education and eventually get a job after college, but if you don't involve yourself in extracurriculars, you may struggle to adjust to the real world once you get to that after college. So in an article written by Eric Burden, a psychology researcher, he mentioned that above all, risk takers are guaranteed to win eventually because they are learners. Not only do learners deal with problems and approach things differently, they also learn from those experiences. So this researcher noticeably recognizes those who take risks and go outside of their comfort zone in order to strive for personal growth. Having those different perceptions from the experience of being a leader makes you aware as well as responsible for your own actions in every situation. whether it's answering tons of emails every week or working with a member one-on-one to set up a payment plan. Each of these tasks on its own take up a lot of time and contribute to a lot, though. It's a lot of skills that I gain in long term. Especially as a treasurer, you learn to be smart with money and budgeting. You gain a huge responsibility to be liable for, lots of money, and you educate others on the importance of finances. These types of skills are needed in practically every job or occupation. And not only does it apply to jobs, it also applies to daily life for everyone, such as doing taxes or even doing some self-budgeting, or even just keeping track of expenses can help individuals to become more responsible and committed to healthy practices needed in life situations like that. So in addition, I wanted to touch on the importance of taking on a leadership position in order to positively influence your future. A lot of what college is about is beginning to build a resume, not just on paper, but also just to have a tool belt that you can use in your jobs in the future that you'd be applying to. In an article titled 12 Things You Can Do in College to Boost Your Resume, I found that the writer found that the most important tip was taking on a leadership role as president or treasurer of an organization, because it shows employers that you can demonstrate that you can take on added responsibilities and handle multiple commitments at once. Leadership roles often come with plenty of skills you can utilize in the workplace, such as budgeting, managing a group, team building, event planning, and more. The average hiring manager will look at a resume for only a few seconds, so having those important experiences that stand out on your resume make it all worth it. Lots of people tend to stay in their comfort zones in college by just attending class and not branching out to extracurriculars, but taking the risk and going for those extracurriculars will set you apart from the others. It's also so vital to your personal growth and for the perception of any future employer that may want to hire someone within your major. If an individual's resume only has their education on it, that is of course impressive. But at the same time, no employer is going to take a college graduate who has not had real-world experience yet that they're looking to shape their company and provide you with a full-time salary. Lastly, I just wanted to showcase why personal growth and achievement is so important for not only your future, but just for yourself and your mental health. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs from psychology research, he suggests that self-actualization is at the top of that pyramid, and that's the fullest potential that any individual can reach. Of course, it takes time to get to the top, though. So starting at the bottom are the physiological needs, which are needs that you would need to survive, such as food, water, warmth, and rest. Above that is safety needs, which is all about feeling safe and secure, whether it's a living situation or whether you need an income to survive and you feel secure with your job. But once an individual has reached this part of the pyramid, this is a big part about leadership. The next part, which is the next need, is belongingness and love needs. Everyone wants to feel as if they belong and have a place in life before they can reach the need above that, which is esteem needs. Esteem needs are often where taking leadership positions help to achieve. Prestige and feeling of accomplishment is achieved at this stage, which is important when leading an organization. Having that feeling of accomplishment and feeling of acceptance and validation from the stage below, this one is what allows a leader to thrive in their position. This personal growth is what matters the most for a leader, because it allows that individual to get the validation from its peers in order to succeed. The top of this pyramid and the final stage growth is self-actualization. So this is basically the ultimate level that you would want to get to, and I believe that taking on these risks and taking these leadership positions that you never thought you would do is definitely a way to reach your self-actualization. So getting to this stage is the ultimate goal because it provides the individual with personal growth and accomplishment as well as achieving the best version of oneself. Mentally, getting to this stage is so important for any individual's happiness. When I got the validation and feeling of accomplishment from my peers through the hierarchy of needs, I related to this process immensely. That's why I wanted to share it. Peers around you have such a big impact on your self-esteem that the stages of growth are very important to the personal self. I am very passionate about this subject, so sharing it with all of you gives me joy. If I never took that risk to branch out of my comfort zone, I would not feel as much personal growth and achievement that I do today. That is why I wanted to share with you, because running for an executive position, or even any position, is so intimidating, but once overcoming your fear, it's all worth it. Being one who's in charge never seemed like the type of thing I would thrive in, but I have thrived more than I ever could have imagined. It doesn't have to be a position you're running for, it can be anything that scares you, but no matter what it is, taking the risk to face your fears results in so much more reward than you could ever imagine. Don't ever regret not doing something you have thought of doing before. Don't regret anything you do, because the odds are you'll end up liking what you did more than you ever would have known.